Exactly did you stop Thanos, the Mad Titan, from decimating half of the universe?
Oh, no. I'm a big enough man to admit when I'm wrong. T'Challa here showed me there was more than one way to reallocate the universe's resources.
Sometimes the best weapon in your arsenal is just a good argument.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Nerdrotic.com.
So far on Marvel's What If, we've gotten a gender swap and a racial swap, and I'm having trouble telling the difference between the alternate MCU and the regular MCU. Kind of seems like that's what they're doing already. Last week on Marvel's What If, it was what if Captain America had a female head and she ended up being a better Captain America. This week, we have what if Star-Lord was T'Challa, and spoilers, he's a better Star-Lord. We go from Mary Sue to Gary Sue. Before we get started, if you like what I do here, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking and sharing the videos. That is really the only way independent content creators can get any traction on this platform these days, and we appreciate everyone who has already subscribed, and we thank you for your continued support. Now on to the show. As with every What If episode, which is 2 so far, we start with the Watcher in silhouette, voiced by Jeffrey Wright. I wonder why that is.
But in a multiverse of infinite possibility, is your destiny determined by your nature or by the nature of your world?
No, that would actually be determined by Kang. As with last week's episode, this week has most of the returning voices for the original characters, including Karen Gillan, Josh Brolin, and the dearly departed Chadwick Boseman. And before I criticize this episode, I am not criticizing Chadwick Boseman. I have nothing but respect for his acting ability. I thought he was a very good Black Panther, especially in Captain America Civil War. That being said, I think they should recast the part, just like I thought they should recast Joker after Heath Ledger's death, and I feel the same way about The Living. I think someday they should recast Iron Man and Captain America as well. No actor is bigger than these characters, with all due respect. But you're free to disagree with me in the comment section below. That is okay. So we start this episode with Korath confronting Star-Lord on Morag. And the big difference is Star-Lord is T'Challa, and Korath loves him, thinks he's a rock star. Of course, he's a Gary Sue. Star-Lord is a Robin Hood in this universe, so there is some giant differences from the original Guardians of the Galaxy, and it makes it really boring. Biggest problem with this episode is the writing, and it's just oozing with political correctness, including T'Challa not being comfortable with the Lord part of the Star-Lord name.
You are a lord.
It is not an official title, nor is it one I am comfortable with.
Star-Lord defeats Korath and then recruits him because T'Challa is a better Star-Lord. Then he goes to Yondu with the orb, and they are going to use it to help people, not sell it to the highest bidder, because this is Star-Lord and his merry men of Ravengers. Yeah, so this episode plays more like an educational PSA than an actual episode of Marvel television. Long gone are the days of this joke.
And Quill, your ship is filthy.
Oh, she has no idea. If I had a black light, the place would look like a Jackson Pollock painting.
You got issues, Quill.
Still the best joke in the history of the MCU. So a better title for this might be What If Marvel Was Written by Greta Thunberg.
How dare you!
But you know what makes a big comeback? That trademark Marvel morality. More on that later. We do a flashback 20 years prior in the isolationist ethno-state, Wakanda. T'Challa has a little conversation with his Baba saying he wants to explore the world, but his dad says no because the world is filled with hatred and war. So I'm going to show you the scene rather than describe it.
What you call destiny is just an equation,
Nope, pretty sure it was Kang.
a product of variables. Right place, right time, or in some instances, the wrong place at the wrong time.
So as T'Challa is throwing his lengthy projectile around, he tosses it through the barrier, the wall around the isolationist Wakanda. Listen, I didn't write this stuff. I'm just telling you what's happening in the show. So, okay? As you know from Guardians of the Galaxy, Ego tasked Yondu to find his spawn, Peter Quill, but instead they found T'Challa because Yondu gave the job to his subordinates. And while they were looking for something not of this world, they found T'Challa because of his proximity to the vibranium meteor and, of course, that super advanced isolationist Wakanda. And they end up keeping him for 20 years. That's right, we're 20 years later in a bar. And in this bar scene, we find out T'Challa is a better Star-Lord in every single way, a soulful saint. I think the term is laying it on thick. Turns out he saved Drax and his family and their planet in just 6 days, and it turns out he talked Thanos out of the snap. That's right, he talked Thanos out of his entire plan. And how did he do that?
Exactly did you stop Thanos, the Mad Titan, from decimating half of the universe?
Oh, no. I'm a big enough man to admit when I'm wrong. T'Challa here showed me there was more than one way to reallocate the universe's resources.
Sometimes the best weapon in your arsenal is just a good argument.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Maybe Captain America should have told the Red Skull a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Maybe Thor should have told Hela every minute you're angry, you lose 60 seconds of happiness. Oh, and this is where we meet the Ravengers, including Nebula, or Karen Nebula. And she is talking to her dad Thanos thanks to, you guessed it, Star-Lord T'Challa. Karen Nebula does ask T'Challa why he hasn't gone home in 20 years, and we find out that the isolationist Wakanda was destroyed in a war. So this ends up being a heist tale, and the heist is led by T'Challa? No, of course it's led by Karen Nebula, because even in a what-if show about a dude replacing another dude, of course we have to have a girl boss because this is the MCU, and this girl boss is looking for the embers of Genesis. Yes, it's the Genesis device from Star Trek II, except it's embers. And they need to steal it from the Collector, who is voiced by Benicio del Toro. All right, Karen Nebula's plan is to sneak Star Jesus into the Collector's abode in nowhere while pretending to sell the orb so they can steal the embers of Genesis. They're able to sneak Star-Lord in with a distraction from the Ravengers, who are then soundly defeated by Proxima Midnight, including Thanos.
Ravagers?
As Yondu and Nebula distract the Collector, T'Challa is off to find the embers, and he finds Howard the Duck, and I'm liking this. You know, whatever happened to that Howard the Duck series they were going to do? Oh. Whatever happened to that New Warriors with Squirrel Girl show they were going to do? Oh. What happened to that Son of Satan show they were going to do? Oh. Unfortunately, T'Challa separates from Howard the Duck and the show gets boring again. His Black Panther necklace starts glowing because he's in the proximity of the isolationist ethno-state's super advanced spacecraft. Wakanda's spacecraft. He sees a message from his Baba, and T'Challa finds out that Yondu has been lying to him the whole time. Wow, some tension. I'm actually surprised this is happening in a D+ show. Then Karen Nebula busts in the spaceship, and T'Challa finds out he's been double-crossed. Karen Nebula has a debt to the Collector, and T'Challa is the payment. This is something that almost feels like Guardians of the Galaxy, but we know that won't last long. T'Challa gets imprisoned with the rest of the Ravengers and confronts Yondu. Yondu explains to T'Challa that he kidnapped him 20 years ago and lied to him about his isolationist ethno-state being destroyed in a war because he has the heart of an explorer, just like him, and the past is a prison, and I don't write this stuff. So T'Challa is taken away to the Collector, where they have a little interaction, which isn't so bad, and there is one particular line in here that does unfortunately describe this episode.
Ma, make a note. It appears he does have a superpower after all. He can bore someone to death using only his sanctimony.
I doubt they could be that self-aware, but still applicable. Turns out the Collector's not very impressed with T'Challa, and I didn't mention this, he has the Black Order now, not Thanos, and he's going to have Ebony Maw basically strip him down for parts. Remember the part I almost liked? No, not the Howard the Duck part. The part where Karen Nebula betrayed T'Challa. Well, I'm not liking it anymore because it turns out it was a double cross of a double cross, and Karen Nebula and T'Challa were in control the whole time. You knew something like that couldn't last in a D+ show. Because this is Disney+ and modern Marvel, you know the women had to save the men. First, Karina the slave girl saves T'Challa, and Karen Nebula saves the Ravengers. Then there's a couple of fights. Nebula teams up with Thanos to fight the Black Order, and Yondu and T'Challa fighting the Collector. Everybody wins, and they head off to the rendezvous point. On their way there, T'Challa forgives Yondu for kidnapping him and lying to him about the destruction of his isolationist ethno-state home. And of course, we haven't brought up his parents, who were probably worried to the point of insanity. I mean, is this show supposed to be for kids? Are you actually telling them to go take off with strangers? What the hell are you doing, Disney Plus, for Christ's sake? So, of course, where they meet up is the isolationist ethno-state of Wakanda. And guess what? Mom doesn't say a word in this episode, and Dad is totally cool that Yondu took his son for 20 years. So the underlying message in this week's Disney Plus Marvel's What If is it's totally okay to kidnap kids. So let's recap some of the Marvel morality since Endgame. Wanda Maximoff enslaves an entire town of men, women, and children, including the children being trapped in their rooms where they can't even go to the bathroom. The new Captain America, Falcon Cap, sympathizes with terrorists. In Loki, it's okay to murder innocent people as long as you feel properly victimized. And in Black Widow, it's okay to subjugate women, torture them, and then become their surrogate mom. So why not add kidnapping to the list? And here I thought the worst thing in this episode was going to be T'Challa talking Thanos out of the snap. Oof, I was wrong. It looks like Disney Plus is going to be available in Afghanistan soon, and it might play very well there.
That was 4 days ago, 5 days ago.
I also have to mention the very end of the episode where Ego the Living Planet, voiced by Kurt Russell, does find his son Peter Quill mopping floors in the middle of the night at a Dairy Queen. And in this world of infinite possibilities, Marvel has decided in their first 2 episodes of What If to deconstruct subtly and not so subtly Captain America and Star-Lord. And I'm not writing this stuff, folks. This is their deliberate decisions. They are trying to bolster characters that, in this case, don't need it at the expense of other very popular characters. I wonder if it has anything to do with Chris Pratt's perceived views on the world, which he has never said publicly, but the Twitterati and the blue check marks have been trying to cancel him for years. Aside from the horrific morality, I did like Howard the Duck, and there was a couple of things that almost could have been good, but this is very basic writing. And no, I don't look for sophistication when I come to the MCU, not anymore anyway, but it used to be there. Things like this used to matter, but they don't anymore because this is all about...
This will enable us to tell great stories, inspired by the perfect mix of creative excellence enhanced by data-driven audience insights.
I have said it's going to get worse before it gets better, but I don't know how much worse, and I don't even want to ask at this point because there is a lot of Marvel left, including Shang-Chi and the Eternals, but I'm sure they're both going to be an absolute triumph. But apparently not in China. I'm saying this about everything Marvel these days. I'm sure there was a good story to tell with What If T'Challa was Star-Lord, but unfortunately, Disney Marvel is incapable of telling good stories these days. If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, I thank you for listening this long. If you want to hear more about What If and the current state of Marvel, we did talk about it a lot last night on Friday Night Tights with Mahler, Rags, and the great Eric July. The link will be in the description. Until next time, have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.